So I wanted to quickly film a video about this full moon in Gemini that's coming up in a couple of days because I'm already feeling the energy of it very, very strongly. So I wanted to just quickly give you a heads up, just in case any of you are feeling it and you're not aware of what's going on. Because whenever I start to get hit with full moon energy and I'm not fully aware that the full moon is coming, it just seems like such a big deal, right? Like I'll get triggered and I'll be like, what the hell is wrong with me? Like, why are my thoughts all of a sudden so heavy? And then I'll realize like, oh, it's the full moon coming up. And then I'll feel much better because then it's like, okay, I have an explanation for it and I know it's going to pass. So yeah, I like to pay attention to the full moon cycles for that reason. So yeah, let's talk about this Gemini full moon. Okay, so first of all, Gemini is a sign that is mutable air. Air being your thoughts, like the air element is associated with your thoughts. So Gemini is known to have like very flighty, shifty, I guess it's the best word I can come up with, type of thoughts. It's like having racing thoughts, your thoughts being all over the place. So with the full moon being in Gemini, that's something that you could be experiencing. You could be experiencing like just your thoughts being more scattered than usual, or not being able to focus or pay attention very well during this time. So if you see an increase in that, don't panic. It's just the full moon and it will pass, right? So the full moon in Gemini also is going to be highlighting, any type of inconsistencies in your thought process as well. So it's like your thoughts are racing, but that gives you an opportunity to kind of see where your thoughts are inconsistent. Like if you're having a lot of conflicting thoughts that are like holding you back or that are working against you, it's going to be more obvious at this time. Like, for example, if you say that you have a goal and you want to go towards that goal, but you're having conflicting thoughts about that goal, that could be the thing that's holding you back. So this could be a time where that is made more apparent and that's made more obvious to you so that you can actually make a sound decision. Does that make sense? It's like, for example, let's say that you say, okay, I want to move out of my hometown and I want to go and live somewhere else, right? And you say that you want that, but your thoughts about that are inconsistent because maybe you don't know where you want to move. So your thoughts are always shifting between like different cities, or you're not sure if you even want to move because you're in your comfort zone. So your thoughts are shifting between, I really want to go, and it shifts back to, no, but I'm more comfortable here. And that could be something that happens all the time, but it's just more subtle and it's holding you back. But during the Gemini full moon, it's no longer subtle. It becomes very blaringly obvious that your thoughts are conflicting with each other and you need to sit down and like straighten them out and make a decision. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So yeah, this is definitely a time where even though your thoughts are chaotic, that's the very thing that could lead to you finally getting clarity, right? So also during this full moon, you want to be careful about gossip. Do not gossip about anybody because it's going to get back to them. It's going to get back to them in some way, or something is just going to happen, like gossip related. Or I'm not going to say something's going to happen, but something could happen. Like Gemini full moon is always a time where, things are being said and it gets back to the person in an unexpected type of way. Even if you're someone who gossips all the time and you're like careful about it, like it never gets back to the person, this could be the time where it actually gets back to the person. You see what I'm saying? Even if it's like just innocent little gossip, you just want to be very, very careful about that. It could also be like exposed that someone's been gossiping about you. I mean, that's not guaranteed, and I don't like making like negative predictions about the full moon, but it could happen. It could happen where someone could be like gossiping about you. And if that does come to the light, you want to just make sure that you think before you act, because Gemini is also a sign that is associated with, I want to say impulsiveness. Like they're not as impulsive, I would say, as an Aries is, but Geminis are known to be kind of like, they're quick. They're very quick. And usually it's not that they're quick with their actions. They're usually very quick with their words. So just be careful of that. Like be careful of the desire to quickly like clap back at people. And that goes for, if you hear about someone gossiping about you, you might have the urge to quickly send them a message and like cuss them out. Or it could just go for anything, like even being in the workplace and somebody says something that rubbed you the wrong way, you could have the urge to like quickly say something to them, like back to them, to offend them, and then later on you regret it. It's like, just be careful, like just be very mindful of those types of things. Try to take the high road if you can, because things can get really out of hand during a Gemini full moon for sure. Let me see what else. Oh, also during a Gemini full moon, I mean, we kind of touched base on this, but during this time, you could definitely be a bit more indecisive, like just in general. I know we talked about how you could be gaining clarity about certain things that you've been indecisive about, but just in general, you could find yourself just having a hard time with decisions in general. So if you feel more stressed out than usual about choices, like you're sitting there like, what do I want to eat? And it's stressing you the hell out. And you're like, I don't know, I can't choose. And it's legit giving you anxiety. It's the Gemini full moon doing that to you. So don't worry, it will pass. And one other thing about the Gemini full moon, manipulation. And when I say manipulation, I'm thinking like car salesman type manipulation. Like Gemini is like the used car salesman placement. Like, you know, on Matilda, her dad, how he was like selling those old beat down cars, and he was like basically manipulating people into buying them, making it seem like they were new when they weren't. That's a very Gemini type of energy. So during the Gemini full moon, be mindful of that. Just be mindful of any type of manipulation or anybody trying to sell you something. And that could go for like selling you a product, like selling something like for money, or it could be somebody trying to sell you a dream, like them trying to come and tell you how much they're going to do this for you and do that for you and things of that sort. It could just be manipulation. So just be careful of that. I would take everybody's words with a grain of salt during the Gemini full moon and wait for it to pass before you really decide if you can trust their word. The Gemini full moon also has a tendency to expose tricksters, like the trickster energy, because Gemini is the trickster energy. I always say that Gemini is the swiper, swiper the fox. That's what I think in my mind when I think Gemini. Swiper, no swiping. Trickster energy. So if anybody is like a trickster, like any type of like frauds or things like that, they usually get exposed during the Gemini full moon for sure. Let me see what else. I want to make sure I didn't forget anything. Oh, during this full moon, you could also feel a bit of restlessness. Like you could feel a bit more restless than usual. Again, very normal for this full moon energy. What else? Oh, this could definitely be a time where there's going to be a spotlight shined on your lack of commitment. So if you're someone who you have certain goals or you have certain things that you know you're supposed to be accomplishing, but you are like lollygagging about them, procrastinating and things of that sort, that's going to become very, very apparent to you during this time, right? So, okay, for example, I'm going to give you a good example because I remember this like it was yesterday, right? This was a Gemini full moon from a couple years back, and I still remember it so blatantly. So I have been wanting to add another business venture, right? I wanted to start another, how do I explain this? Okay, I wanted to add another income stream, right? I had a couple income streams. I wanted to add one more, and I wanted to add another one because I wanted to upgrade my apartment. I had a 1-bedroom apartment. I wanted to upgrade it to a 2-bedroom because mine was just too small and it was really bad for my depression, right? It was like cluttered. It was bad. So I was just like, I need to upgrade and I need to add another income stream. But I was like not fully committing to it. I was just like, yeah, I'm going to do it soon. Like I kept on putting it off, procrastinating and things of that sort. And y'all, during the Gemini full moon, I remember an apartment opened up that I wanted really, really bad. Because up until that point, the apartments were all taken. The ones that I wanted were all taken. So one of them, like, unexpectedly opened up earlier than what I would have thought. And the person contacted me because I was on a waiting list. So the leasing office contacted me and was just like, yeah, we have this apartment that's open for you. And I was just like, wait a minute. I thought that my name was like really low on the list. Like I would think that someone else above me on the list would have got called first. And they were just like, oh no, apparently like all the people on the list something happened to where they were all people who were above me on the list, they all got like knocked off the list, and I was like at the top of the list for the apartment. Just out of nowhere, the apartment came out of nowhere. My name getting bumped up on the list was out of nowhere. So they were just like, yeah, so if you want to move into this apartment, you can. And y'all, I couldn't move in because I had not been consistent with my other income stream. So I did not have enough to upgrade to this apartment. And I was so pissed at myself, just pissed. But I'll always remember that, because that did exactly what I said. It shined a spotlight. The Gemini full moon shined a spotlight on the consequences of being inconsistent, the consequences of procrastinating, the consequences of avoiding commitment. Like, yeah, it might feel good in the moment to lollygag and to procrastinate and to avoid and things of that sort, but in the long run, yeah, it's not going to be good for you. So this full moon will shine a spotlight on how long-term benefits are going to always outweigh, that short-term satisfaction of procrastination and avoiding commitment. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, just take that into consideration during this full moon. Like, sit down and think about all the things that you have been wanting to commit to, whether it be the gym, whether it be your like business that you want to start, going back to school, your health, like whatever it is that you're supposed to be committing to and you haven't been doing it. This is the time for you to do it. I know during the Gemini full moon, a lot of the time too, I will have some sort of like health issue. God forbid. I'm praying that doesn't happen this time around, but usually it is a result of the fact that it's a result of me just not being fully committed to my health regimen, so again, just kind of sit down during this full moon energy and ask yourself, what commitments have you been avoiding? And it's time to really clear out whatever's blocking you from commitment. Because I'm not saying that you're, procrastinating or holding off on commitment because you want to, because you think it's fun. I mean, sometimes it's because we genuinely have like something blocking us, like maybe like you have ADHD and you can't focus, or if you have experienced past trauma, you being emotionally dysregulated could be the reason why you're procrastinating. I just watched a whole video about emotional dysregulation and how it can lead to procrastination. So procrastination can be a trauma response, and that's what I mean. It's like you need to sit down and think about the underlying issues or the underlying problems the underlying problems behind why you are afraid to commit and procrastinating and things of that sort. And one more thing I am going to mention is that the sign of Gemini is also associated with intellectualizing your emotions. Okay, so during this full moon, this could be a very good time for you to kind of explore that. Like, are there emotions that you haven't allowed yourself to fully process and feel? Like, are there emotions or situations that you kind of like thought your way through? And as an Aquarius, I'm very good for this. I do this a lot, and it's not good for me, especially with me being a Pisces moon. It's like my Pisces moon is so sensitive and feels things so deeply, and then my Aquarius is like, we're just gonna logically explain this away, and then all of that energy ends up getting trapped in my body, and it just throws me off emotionally, and it's no good. So you may want to kind of look at that. You may want to stop and ask yourself, are you someone who intellectualizes your emotions, and what are the repercussions of that? Like, do you feel like your emotions are like trapped in your body? And has it done any damage to your body? I know for me, I feel like whenever I intellectualize my emotions, I always end up like with my stomach being upset. My emotions, they get trapped in my stomach, and I already have like digestive issues, so that's no good, right? So I had to really teach myself how to sit and feel. And it's much more difficult than what I thought. Like, whenever a feeling would come up, I'll be like, okay, let me sit and feel this. So I'll sit and I'll like put my hand on my heart and I'll just feel my heartbeat, and I'll be like, okay, everything's okay. Just feel your way through it. And I'll find myself like intellectualizing it. Like, as I'm telling myself, just let yourself feel it, I'll find my mind like trying to latch on to like intellectual ideas that can help shift it. And there's nothing wrong with self-soothing and speaking to yourself compassionately so that you can calm yourself down. Like, some emotions are so intense, you don't just sit with them. Like, you need to self-soothe, right? But for me, it's like it went beyond just self-soothing. I was like explaining them away. Like I was almost explaining to myself why I shouldn't feel this way. And that's not healthy and that's not good. So yeah. Okay, sorry y'all. I had to turn the recording off for a second, so the ending got cut off. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say. I hope that this video is helpful. And again, I always like to do these full moon type readings because in the past I've just gone through certain experiences that could have been avoided had I realized that, we were experiencing a full moon transit. So I like to do these now because it's like, okay, you will not catch me slipping again. Like as long as I'm keeping track with the full moons, I can't always predict exactly what's going to happen, but I could at least try to make the best decisions possible based on the energy that we're experiencing. So that's the point of these full moon videos. So anyway, I love you guys. I hope that this was helpful, and I'll see you in my next video.